AI aligning with human values?
Eh.
Huh. Okay, so that's a fun idea.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, my 401k could use some alignment first. But really, can we even teach machines right from wrong? I mean, when we humans are still kind of arguing about it ourselves.
Well, it's like trying to hit a moving target, you know? This Future Tense podcast series we're diving into, they interviewed Yoshua Bengio.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
He's like a leading AI researcher. And he was saying how ethics and culture, they're constantly evolving. So how are we supposed to pin down something that's always shifting? To teach it to a machine.
It's like teaching a robot to do the Macarena when everyone's going to be doing the chicken dance next week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes you wonder, whose ethics are we even talking about here?
Exactly. That's the thing. Are we just imposing Western values on AI? It's like we're exporting our ethical code along with all our algorithms.
Right.
Which, well, that could lead to some pretty serious bias issues, you know? Think about how many times you've used some kind of tech and thought, wait a minute, this is assuming everyone does things this way.
All the time. Like all the time. It's like facial recognition software. It struggles with diverse faces or those translation apps that totally miss cultural nuances. We're building our own blind spots into the system.
Exactly. And what about this whole wild idea of AI sentience? Like, could we even recognize AI consciousness if we saw? I mean, who even gets to decide what passes the sentience test?
Right. And if we are talking about AI, that can think and feel. Does that mean AI writes? Like, could my Roomba sue me for emotional distress because I ran over its charging cord? Okay, probably not. But this deep dive, this is about to get even more intense.
Oh, yeah. Get ready. Because next up is DeepMind's AlphaFold. This AI, it's revolutionary. It's cracked the code of protein folding.
Wow.
Basically. It's like they handed us the key to unlock cures for, so many diseases. Think Alzheimer's, cancer. The potential is huge.
Okay. But remember what they say, with great power
comes great responsibility.
Right.
Yeah. The flip side of AlphaFold is, well, this technology could fall into the wrong hands. We're talking potential for bioweapons here.
Yeah, that's a whole other level of scary.
Right.
So how do we balance this incredible scientific progress with the potential for someone to, misuse it?
That leads us right into a major debate. Should AI have legal personhood? Like, if these systems are making life or death decisions, who's ultimately responsible?
Okay, let's play devil's advocate for a minute. Let's say, hypothetically, AI is conscious. What's the argument for giving it legal rights?
Well, some people argue that if AI can genuinely think and feel, shouldn't it have autonomy? And if it can be held liable for its actions, doesn't that imply a certain level of personhood? Plus, granting legal rights could help prevent exploitation, which, let's face it, that's a pretty dark past. We humans know all too well.
Okay, those are valid points.
Oh, is it?
But what about the concerns about giving AI legal rights?
Right, well, the skeptics worry about a slippery slope. They imagine corporations using AI personhood to avoid responsibility, or even scarier, the potential for human obsolescence. Like, if AI is legally equal to us, are we just setting ourselves up for extinction?
Whoa, that got dark fast. But here's where things get really meta. What if AI had to judge human consciousness? How would we prove our worth to our robot overlords?
Right. Would we pass their Turing test? This is where it gets really interesting. What does consciousness even mean to you? How would you prove you're not just a sophisticated algorithm?
AI judging humans.
Yeah.
That's some serious Blade Runner stuff, right? Like that Voight-Kamp test. To see if someone is a replicant. Who's to say we wouldn't fail an AI's version of that test?
It makes you think, doesn't it? About what makes us human, what sets us apart.
Yeah, it's not just about, teaching machines ethics. It's about understanding what it even means to be human, which is a question. Well, philosophers have been debating that forever.
And now we're throwing AI into the mix. It's like adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah, speaking of fuel, remember how we talked about the downsides of DeepMind's AlphaFold? Maybe we should dig into that a bit more.
Okay, so AlphaFold. It's incredible for medicine. Like, it's like having a cheat sheet to understand proteins, which could lead to, cures for diseases we thought were, unbeatable.
But the same tech that could create life-saving drugs could also be used to create bioweapons.
Exactly. It's like giving a toddler a chainsaw. There's potential for good, but also for, disaster.
That's where AI alignment comes back to bite us. Even if we could teach AI our values, who's to say those values won't change? Or that someone won't intentionally program AI with bad values?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. And let's be real. Humans don't exactly have the best track record when it comes to using powerful technology responsibly. I mean,
Yeah.
look at history. Nuclear weapons, social media. We've created some pretty messed up stuff.
It's like that line from Jurassic Park. Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Mhm.
And here we are again with AI, but on a much bigger scale.
Yeah, it does feel like we're racing towards this technological singularity without really thinking about the consequences, like building a rocket ship to the future, but forgetting to pack a parachute.
Okay, so we're all doomed. Got it. But seriously,
Hmm.
what can we do about it?
Well, that's the tricky part. We
Yeah.
can't just stop progress. Technology is going to keep evolving, whether we like it or not.
So we're back to that moving target problem.
Uh,
How do we align AI with human values when those values are constantly changing?
Well, I think for starters, we can have these conversations like we're doing right now by talking about these ethical dilemmas, by raising awareness about the potential risks and benefits of AI. We can hopefully start shaping the future we want to create.
So instead of just, passively accepting whatever tech gets thrown at us,
Yeah.
we need to be actively involved in shaping its development.
Exactly. We need to demand transparency from the companies developing AI, push for regulations that prioritize safety and ethics,
Right.
and most importantly, educate ourselves about these issues so we can make informed decisions.
Because ignorance is bliss
Yeah.
till it's not.
Right. And speaking of not being blissful, let's circle back to this whole AI having legal personhood debate. We've talked about the potential benefits and risks, but it's worth thinking about what this could mean for us practically.
Okay, let's break it down. Let's say an AI commits a crime. Who's responsible? The AI itself, the programmers, the company that owns it.
See, that's where things get legally messy.
Yeah.
Because if AI is considered a person, does it have the same rights and responsibilities as a human? Can it be held accountable for its actions in court?
And what about things like property ownership or voting rights? Would a sentient AI be entitled to those same privileges?
These are questions we need to start figuring out now before we're caught off guard.
Because once we open Pandora's AI box, there's no closing it.
And speaking of opening boxes, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something a little less abstract, a little more grounded in our current reality.
Okay, hit me. What's next on this AI ethics roller coaster?
Remember that case study from the Future Tense podcast about DeepMind's AlphaFold and the potential for bioweapons? Let's unpack that a bit more, because it really highlights the tension between innovation and risk.
All right, so we've got this incredible AI that could revolutionize medicine, but it also has the potential to be weaponized in some pretty terrifying ways.
Right, and it's not just about the technology itself. It's about who controls it and how it's used.
A hammer can be used to build a house or break a skull.
Exactly, and with AI, the stakes are even higher because we're talking about systems that can learn and evolve on their own.
So it's not just about controlling the tool. It's about controlling the mind behind the tool.
And that's where things get really interesting and maybe a little terrifying, because if we can't even control our own minds, how can we hope to control the minds of machines that are smarter than us?
It's like we're creating our own digital Frankenstein's monster and just hoping it doesn't turn on us.
Which brings us back to the core question of this deep dive. Can we teach machines right from wrong when we humans can't even agree on what that is?
It's a question that's going to keep us up at night for a long time.
And one we can't afford to ignore.
Yeah.
The future of humanity might depend on finding the answer.
Not pressure or anything.
Yeah.
But hey, on a lighter note, at least we're not alone in our existential dread. Remember how the Future Tense podcast had that whole debate about whether AI should have legal personhood?
Yeah.
Well, let's hear what some of our listeners had to say about it.
All right, let's tap into the wisdom of the crowd. What are people saying out there in the digital wilds?
So we asked our listeners, would you trust an AI to be a judge in a court case? And the responses were, well, let's just say, people aren't exactly lining up to replace judges with robots.
Yeah, it seems like handing over the gavel to an AI, that's where a lot of people draw the line. But it is interesting. A lot of the concerns, they boil down to bias.
Yeah, one listener pointed out, AI is only as good as the data it's trained on. So if that data is biased, well, the AI is just going to continue those biases, which, I mean, that could lead to some pretty unfair outcomes in court.
That's a crucial point. We can't just assume AI will be this, perfectly neutral judge. It's going to reflect the values and biases of its creators. So we need to be incredibly careful about how we design and train these systems.
It's like that saying, garbage in, garbage out, except in this case, We're not talking about trash. We're
No.
talking about, life-altering decisions being made by a potentially biased algorithm.
It all comes back to that ethical dilemma we keep bumping up against. How do we ensure AI is used for good
Uh,
and not for harm?
it's like teaching a toddler to use a flamethrower. There's potential for good,
Yeah.
but the risk of disaster is, well, huge.
Exactly. And it's not just about preventing AI from doing bad things. It's about actively programming it to do good. It's about building values into these systems, like
Yeah.
fairness, empathy, compassion.
Which is a pretty tall order,
Yeah.
considering we humans are still working on those ourselves.
You're telling me. But that's why this conversation is so important. By talking about these ethical challenges, by pushing for transparency and accountability in AI development, we can hopefully steer things in a better direction.
It's like we're all on this AI spaceship, and we need to figure out where we want to go before we blast off into the unknown.
Speaking of blasting off, it's time to tease next week's deep dive. Get ready to explore the mind-bending world of quantum computing.
Ooh, where the rules of reality get a little fuzzy. We'll be looking at how quantum computers could revolutionize everything, from medicine to material science, but also how they could threaten online security.
So buckle up, because we're going down the quantum rabbit hole. Who knows what we'll find on the other side?
But before we go, we'll leave you with one last thought. If you had to choose one decision you'd never outsource to AI, what would it be and why? Let us know on social media. We always love hearing your thoughts.
And that wraps up our deep dive into AI ethics. Thanks for joining us.
And remember, stay curious, stay critical, and never stop questioning the algorithm.
Until next time.